But making a choice is easier said than done. Easier said than done, especially when a lot is at stake. Take the European Union, for example. Its military commitments command a joint support for Ukraine. But this bloc has 27 diverse interests, 27 different political, business and energy interests. 40% of the EU's natural gas comes from Russia. So going to war with Russia means risking all of it. Brussels can only hope it does not come to that. Ukraine is on the edge. The United States is evacuating its embassy at Kyiv. The UK has asked its diplomats to leave Ukraine. The NATO has sent planes and ships to Eastern Europe. The Pope is praying for peace and rallies are being held around the world, almost all in support of Ukraine.
I follow with concern the rising tensions that are threatening to inflict a new blow to peace in Ukraine and are challenging security in the European continent with even more extended repercussions.
So is Russia invading Ukraine? This question was put to the United Nations Secretary General. Here's what he said.
I do not think Russia will invade Ukraine. And I hope that my belief is correct.
The United States does not agree. It says Russian military action can come any time. So Washington has evacuated families of diplomats from Kyiv. Ukraine is unhappy. It has called this move premature and criticized Washington for quote-unquote display of excessive caution. The European Union is wary of drama. It is betting big on dialogue and deterrence. It is warning Russia of massive consequences and trying its best to explain to the world why European diplomats are still in Kyiv. The EU Foreign Policy Chief, Josep Borrell, told reporters that he does not see any reason why diplomats should be asked to leave. The United Kingdom, though, is not waiting for a reason. It has asked diplomats and dependents to pack. Australia, too, has begun evacuating its staff. There is a sense of emergency in the air. Ukrainians living in border towns say that they're scared.
Like on the edge of something very terrible and scary. So yes, I can say that kind of scared.
Not too far from this snow-covered terrain, Russia has deployed its troops, tanks, artillery and heavy equipment. It is prepared for an armed conflict. The UK says Kremlin could also be planning a political conflict in Kyiv. The plan, the UK says, is to install a pro-Russia leader. The British Foreign Office has identified some names. Yevgeny Murayev is one of them. He is pro-Russia, and this is what he has to say.
Of course, everything looks ridiculous and funny. First, it's baseless, as everything was performed by Britain. Secondly, it's absurd because I'm under sanctions of Russian Federation since 1st of November 2018.
Will it be an armed conflict or a coup? NATO is focused on the former. NATO forces are on standby. Additional ships and fighter jets are being sent to Eastern Europe. Denmark is deploying F-16s to Lithuania. Spain is sending warships to Bulgaria. France is preparing to send troops to Bulgaria. If Russia attacks, NATO does not want to be caught unprepared. All measures are being taken, says Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. This is what he said. We will always respond to any deterioration of our security environment, including through strengthening our collective defense. Collective defense sounds fancy, but questionable. And I will tell you why. Because of Germany. It has chosen to play a weak link in NATO. The Nord Stream 2 project is complete and Germany is waiting to double its gas imports from Russia. A war can prove to be costly. So Berlin has refused to provide arms to Ukraine. Germany says it can provide medicines but not weapons. Berlin has also blocked Estonia from sending German-made arms to Ukraine. Over the weekend, Germany's Navy chief was in India. He laid bare the deep division in Europe's view of Russia.
Russia really interested to have a small, tiny strip of Ukraine soil integrated in their country? No, this is nonsense. I think Putin is probably putting pressure on us because he can do it. And he knows that if he splits the European Union. But what he really wants is respect.
This unapologetic celebration of Putin was criticized at home and abroad. The German Navy chief was forced to resign. The US says it does not doubt Germany. It trusts Berlin will maintain a joint front with NATO. Honestly, NATO does not have an option. This conflict is a matter of survival. Say Russia did invade Ukraine. NATO will have a choice to show a joint front or risk irrelevance. The West can hope that it does not come down to that. We'll be watching.